Welcome back to another Microphone Monday. I'm professional voiceover artist John Bailey, and this week I want to talk about another one of the foundation things. We've talked about pitch, we've talked about placement. This week I'm talking about tempo. Now, this is one that I've always struggled with because the majority of the work that I do, I have to pack tons of information into a 15-second voiceover spot. So this applies to both characters and to doing voiceover work because a lot of the times the producers that I've personally worked with do not like to have to speed up the voice in order to fit it into this time slot. So if it's a 13-second spot or a 30-second spot, they like to naturally get those words in there but be understandable. So a lot of the times when you have to really squeeze it in there, but you have to be able to enunciate, make sure you can understand what you're saying. When it comes to on Blu-ray and DVD December 3rd, you have to be able to say that as quickly as possible for the tagline, but still be clear enough where people can understand it. So tempo is very, very important. But as far as characters goes, tempo is important because your character, you need to know how fast or how slow your character talks. Now, this is one I have problems with. When it comes to video game characters, you can talk at a normal standard pace. There is no time limit for doing video game or cartoon characters, depending on what the character is. Now, it may require a fast-paced character, and you can kind of tell what the tempo is, whether it's fast or slow, based on what the character is. I'll give you an example. What would you say the tempo is for a voice like Spongebob? In general,
SpongeBob always speaks really fast because he was always in a hurry and he's always talking to Patrick and I like to go jellyfishing.
and he has a very, very quick, very, very fast tempo.
Whereas Squidward always talks very slow and get off my lawn, SpongeBob.
That's not really the best Squidward, but you get my point. In general, right now, realistic sells, reality, whatever you want to call it, natural sounding voices. So if you're doing a voiceover character, this would probably be pretty close to the voice that I would use for the video game character because they want to hire a realistic sounding voice. But you don't want to get in there, which I've heard a lot of producers complain about me that I've worked with, when I do video game characters, that I'm speaking too quickly. So remember to slow down when you're doing a video game character. Speak at a natural, normal pace. You don't have to drag it out very long, but you need to make sure that it's understandable, it's clear, it's nice and smooth and understanding. If you've ever noticed anything about playing any video games, you notice that the characters, they all kind of sound pretty slow in general. They always speak very, very slowly. Why are you talking to me? Those are the kind of voices that they hire for those characters. When it comes to cartoons, it's a whole different ballgame. And when it comes to voiceovers for movie trailers, it's a whole other ballgame because each one has to have a specific tempo, depending on how long the spot is. So, number one, you need to find out how long the spot is. If it's a character audition, you have longer. It's your character. You're creating this character from scratch based on the description that you're given, and you decide how fast or slow the character talks. Only loosely go by what the voiceover description says for an audition, because you'll find out more often that they really don't even know what they're looking for until they hear it. They put down some general comments about what they're looking for, but they end up hiring some. I have an audition for a Dennis Leary type spot. It was the Tennessee Click It or Ticket or Booze It or Lose It campaign about don't drink and drive. And what they were looking for was kind of a Dennis Leary, kind of a back in the throat, kind of a sarcastic, hey pal, this is what they were looking for. Click it or ticket. And I did exactly what the voiceover description said to do. And guess what voice they ended up hiring for that job? Click it or ticket. Buckle up, Tennessee. It was this close to being, don't worry, we'll leave the light on for you. I'm Tom Bodette for Hotel 6. We have what we call Wi-Fi, which stands for wireless Fi something. They ended up hiring a Tom Bodette voice instead of a Dennis Leary, which is totally what I did when I did the Dennis Leary. So when I did the Dennis Leary, I was like, hey pal, click it or ticket. It was more like the Ford F-150, pal. It was more of that. That was what the voice description said. And that's what I went by. But that's not what they hired. So you have to learn to discern the difference between the two, because the most important thing is doing the voice that gets you hired for the job. Now, if you're just doing this for characters for reading to children, or you're reading to a class, if you're a teacher, sky is the limit. You just use your imagination, feel the flow. Pat Fraley has some great advice on creating character voices. If you go to Pat Fraley Teaches on YouTube, or patfraleyteaches.com, I believe is the website name. And he talks about when he does a delivery. My brother and I used to listen to his audio tapes when I was a kid of creating character voices. And he was always talking about the Cagney. Yeah, Cagney, see, he talks really fast. He has a machine gun delivery because of the way he speaks. That's all has to do with tempo. So join me again next Monday, and I hope you learned something. We'll see you next time.
Insert shameless ravage the insert comic block right here, yes.